तो आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि जो बलात्कार हो रही हैं इसको हम कैसे रोक सकते हैं? आप हमें अपनी राय दे सकते हैं श्रोताओं की जो आग लग रही है दोष किसका है, किसको हम दोष दे सकते हैं, इस पर हम किसको दोष दें, ड्राइवर्स को या फिर पुलिस को? नमस्ते फीजी, देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2 पर मैं मोहिनी। हमारे साथ में शामिल हो जाइएगा दृष्टिकोण प्रोग्राम में हर सोमवार से शुक्रवार तक रात 7 से 8 बजे तक दृष्टिकोण प्रोग्राम में।
In this bulletin, 44 Fijian troops held by Syrian rebels as government and the United Nations negotiate for their safe release. Prolonged dry spell drying up water sources in Western Division. A National Federation party looking to make changes to taxation system if it gets into parliament. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. 44 RFMF soldiers are still being detained by armed Syrian rebels after they were ordered to evacuate a position on the Golan Heights. At the present time, the RFMF says all are well and are in good condition. The capture of the Fijian peacekeepers yesterday was a bit of a sham. Apparently, they evacuated their position after the rebels agreed to let them leave on the Israeli side, but then took them captive anyway.
All UN troops based at the Golan Heights are now on high alert after 43 RFMF soldiers serving under the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force were detained by armed elements in Al Quneitra. Fighting in Syria has increased in the last few weeks and has spilled into the UNDOF operational area known as Position 27 and is home to the 43 soldiers. In a media conference this morning, the RFMF commander says negotiations will continue with the armed elements on their release.
Very much all the positions are now put into high alert. And we're doing all our best to ensure the safety of the 43 that are currently being held captive.
Brigadier General Moses Sitikuitonga says there are unconfirmed reports that the extremist group Al-Nusra Front are responsible. He says the UN Crisis Management Team is negotiating with the armed elements who arrived at Position 27 early Thursday morning, demanding the vacating of that position in 10 minutes. Initial negotiations were that the 43 soldiers evacuate Position 27 through the Alpha Gate, which was the Israeli side, which did not eventuate as the armed elements took them to an unknown location.
UN, which is the crisis management team, is the negotiating management team. And they've continuously negotiated, and we have contacts with the local liaison officers of both the armed elements and the government liaison officers on the situation. And we have been assured that the troops will return to Position 27 and all are in good health.
The military commander says despite the situation, Fijian troops will not withdraw from peacekeeping duties in the Golan Heights.
We will continue to do the job that we've been sent to do, and all the troops have been continuously reminded of the importance of maintaining our integrity as a military force and as part of the UN contingent in Syria. We will not shy away from that responsibility under the circumstances. We will continue to work very hard in the release of our men. At the same time, we have put all our men on alert to ensure that no further incidents of this sort will happen to them.
The names of the detained soldiers are being withheld, and Tikuitonga says their families will be informed in due course. He has also given his assurance that the detained men are well and is urging all Fijians to pray for their safe release. 434 Fijian soldiers left the country this month for peacekeeping duties in the Golan Heights. Vosita Kotiwasawasa, FBC News.
After a media conference this afternoon, it has been confirmed that there are in fact 44 Fijian troops detained and not 43, as has been reported. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama says the Fijian government is doing everything possible to secure the safe return of the detained troops. In a statement this afternoon, Bainimarama says the negotiations for the release of the men have already begun and that the Fijian government is working closely with the UN for the release of the peacekeepers. He says the men are peacekeepers, not combatants in the Syrian conflict, and there is no need for them to be detained. Meanwhile, the United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon and the UN Security Council have strongly condemned the detention of the Fijian peacekeepers. In a statement, Ban Ki-moon called for the immediate release of the detained men. The Security Council, through a spokesperson, has made a similar call.
The members of the Security Council demanded the unconditional and immediate release of all of the detained United Nations peacekeepers and called upon all parties to cooperate with UNDOF in good faith to enable it to operate freely and to ensure full security of its personnel.
The United States has also strongly condemned the detention of the peacekeepers and demanding the unconditional and immediate release of all the peacekeepers. The French government, through its embassy in Suva, has expressed its solidarity with the Fiji government, the military force, families of the detained soldiers in these difficult circumstances. The Fiji Peacekeeping Veterans Group says it's concerned about the welfare of the detained troops, adding that in any peacekeeping operation, we must always expect the risks involved. The Western Division is currently experiencing dry weather due to below-average rainfall and low humidity. Across the division, this has caused water sources such as some wells, springs and small streams to dry up. Akosita Tale reports the increasing bushfires is also a concern.
The maritime islands of the Western Division, that includes Malolo, Vatulele and Yasawa, have started to experience water shortages. The Commissioner Western's office says they have started receiving calls for emergency water supplies to the mainland and all districts within the division.
These are the areas that are outside the regional water supply, where they have their own water supply from their own water sources. We will be commencing with the second round of water cutting to the Yasawa. We will target Nadula because of the impact that the island has been facing during the last few weeks.
The increasing reports of bushfires reported in the division has also prompted the Commissioner's office to set up a team to monitor cane fields to control the fires.
With the assistance of the police and the military, with FSC, we are going to patrol the sugarcane areas and also the pine forest to ensure that people should be alert that we do not want to see unwanted burning happening all around.
The Commissioner's office has issued a warning that as of 6 p.m. this evening, anyone deciding to start fires at home must get a permit from the police, the NFA or the DO's office in light of the increasing spate of bushfires and the long dry spell. So far, 3 people have been arrested and charged for setting fire unnecessarily.
It is very expensive for the farmers, and it's also very expensive to everyone, particularly the economy, because as you see, the cases that are coming to FSC, there is a high level of burnt cane.
Meanwhile, residents in the West, including other divisions, have been warned that if the current dry weather continues, the country could face a drought driven by the potential El Nino. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, thousands flock to Floating Hospital to take advantage of free medical services.
Hold on, pump a little bit and let them know what's going on like that. Like that. Hold on a minute, just fall on back. Let them know that you're too much. And this is a beat they can't touch.
How are you doing, Fiji? Yes, indeed, fast approaching, well, the major bulletin. But before we even talk about the major bulletin, what about my little news flash?
Oh my gosh, please don't let me get started on that again.
Getting on the bus yesterday, And then he tells me, brother, move on to the other seat. Because we can fit 2 people where you're sitting.
Hey, you can't blame the dude for being honest, okay?
There was nothing honest about what he said. Hi, I'm Pibil.
And I'm Fina,
Your daybreak duo on Gold FM. From Mondays to Fridays.
From 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Turn us on.
Isang bulu bida na moro cuma na matagi ko ni rongo ni bibi ko matagi ke misa lopo. Ni ada di isang bulu bida na sero ko di sana. Cuma kira na moro cuma ini. Tuna sile. Ni isang bula, oh ya Mr. Ben. Kelapa. Nama kira na bibi mataka mo ni kira moro buka main ono. Kena liwa, na bulu FM. Apa tu?
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The proposal by the National Federation Party to reduce VAT if it gets into Parliament could possibly see an increase in personal income tax and corporate tax. This comes amid calls for the party leader Biman Prasad to clearly explain how he is going to make up for a shortfall of $300 million if he gets to reduce VAT by 5%. Chanel Sivan reports.
That is why
Fiji's leading economists agree if VAT is reduced by 5%, there will have to be measures taken to make up the loss in $300 million in lost revenue. Until now, NFP leader and economist Biman Prasad has maintained that the loss will be made up by an increase in consumer spending. But now he is suggesting what the country's leading economists have been saying all along. A reduction in VAT will eventually mean an increase in tax.
We will not change the taxation system in the 2015 budget, but going into the 2016 budget, we will review both the income tax and the company tax to see where we are in terms of our revenue policy. The revenue and expenditure policy is a political decision by any government. When we reduce the VAT from 15 to 10%, we know how we are going to change the budgetary allocation.
The current income tax threshold is $16,000, while the corporate tax rate stands at 20%.
We will cut government wastages by about 100 million, and we are also saying that reducing VAT from 15 to 10% does not necessarily mean that we will have the same amount of reduction in the revenue that government collects. So we are hoping that with a much better forecast for growth after the election, 5 or 6% within 1 or 2 years, we believe that with 10% VAT we would be able to collect the amount of revenue shortfall that would come in the reduction anyway.
The NFP also says they will save some more money by closing some overseas missions.
FBC News understands the Bureau of Statistics is about to release some new growth figures, which will significantly surpass the 3.8% projected for this year. This positive growth could fly in the face of the NFP and other political parties' efforts to swing the voters on economic policies just 2 weeks before the polls. A swing that increasingly seems to balance on the question of lower VAT at the expense of higher taxes. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
The Fiji police force continues to investigate Vilikesa Soko's death last week. The robbery suspect died at the Lautoka hospital. Police Commissioner Ben Huneveld has been briefed by the Director Internal Affairs, Luke Navella, who is heading the investigating team. Huneveld says investigators are evaluating the scene where the alleged beating took place. He says he wants to stress to the public, and in particular to Vilikesa Soko's family, that they are leaving no stone unturned in getting to the bottom of what happened. On Tuesday afternoon, he announced the suspension of 4 officers in relation to the death. It was the day of Soko's funeral. The 30-year-old was a suspect in a $50,000 robbery in Nandi on August 15th. Soko was arrested the same day in Singatoka and died 5 days later in hospital. It had only been in the Suva harbour for a week, but the ship known as Pisak treated a total of 5,898 people. The floating hospital of China's People's Liberation Army spent a week performing 68 operations on board, their highest number in a single stop so far. Ellen Stolz has more.
Speaking to some patients on board the ship, it was clear that the free medical services was warmly welcomed and appreciated.
It's good. If I check might be okay. But here they were checking for last 4 years. So it's still coming alright, but now it's still weak.
I came today because the services is free and I can get help from these people.
I'm very thankful for these free medical checks. I was supposed to take my aunt for a checkup next month at CWM, but I'm glad we came here first to get seen and it didn't cost us any money.
Mission Commander Chen Hao says the aim of the mission was to extend a hand of friendship to Pacific Island countries.
For our current mission, the aim is to extend the sincere aspiration of Chinese government and military to safeguard peace, giving care to lives, to promote friendship and enhance cooperation.
1,277 people aged over 60 years were treated on board the ship, along with 2,880 women and 426 children. Earlier this week, a helicopter ambulance was sent to Kandavo with 8 doctors, and they stayed 1 day, treating 160 patients and bringing back 3 patients requiring urgent medical attention.
For the current mission, ARCPIS is staffed with 132 doctors and nurses, mainly from our major naval hospitals. She has 31 departments, 8 operation rooms, over 200 types of medical devices, with a total of more than 2,400 sets.
The ship left Suva Harbour this morning, bound for other Pacific Island countries, including Vanuatu and Samoa. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
Here's Jamie now with your Friday night sports.
Good evening. In sports tonight, BOG semi-finalists ready for showdown this weekend, and Nandrunga prepared to take on an informed Naita series side in tomorrow's first Fair Brother Challenge. These stories and more after the break.
मेरा चांद मुझे आया है नजर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर। छाया है नशा मेरे आंखों पर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर। रह जाए ना प्यासा मेरा प्यार, मेरे बाहों में भर दे मेरा यार, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर। हाय मिर्ची एफएम पर मैं हूं जितेंद्र शांडिल। शामिल हो जाएगा हमारे साथ टू नाइट शो में मंडे टू फ्राइडे फ्रॉम 7 PM to 12 AM। मिर्ची एफएम, इट्स
So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is it's because I have 2 really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick, and plus I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Burumnaka, my name is Real, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 PM to 7, right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The young Lautoko Blues have taken the underdog tag for tomorrow's Inc. Mobile Battle of the Giants semi-final against Mba. Despite not having had a good season in the league and the Fiji FAC this year, the team is confident it can overcome the odds to lift the BOG crown. Aksi Tatale reports.
Lautoka is confident of a win come Saturday and will bank on all its players to do the unthinkable and beat Ba in the semi-final tomorrow. The mentor says every player will have a role to play in this encounter.
Every player is an important player for me. Like if I don't have a keeper, then he's a key player. So is my my backs, my midfielders, so my strikers. So to me, all my clear players are my key players.
The Blues will not let the experienced Ba team have an easy afternoon.
We are going as underdogs. I told my players there's no pressure on you. Ba will have pressure. I know they are the defending champions. They want to win the trophy for 3rd in a row and 17th in a row. So they'll have more pressure. We are still working on the building combination, still on the building phase. So looking at it, Ba is an informed team. But nevertheless, my players will give 100% on Saturday.
The captain says they are ready for one of their toughest battles this season.
Ba is a champion team in Fiji, and we played Ba last year final, and we're meeting Ba this year in semi-final. So our boys are trying to make another history by playing final and winning the final and beating Ba.
The two teams meet at 5 p.m. before which Suva takes on Rewa at 3 p.m. Akusita Tale, FBC Sports.
We'll cross over live now to our West Office and join Akusita Tale with more on Lautoka's preparations. Akusita, you were at the Blues' last training session. How is the side looking?
Well, Jamie, watching the team go through its drills, I saw a lot of determination in the players' faces. It was also positive to see the senior players guiding the younger reps. Camaraderie in the team is alive and well, and I believe this will play a major role in how the side performs tomorrow.
Now I understand that the Blues have not won the BOG in almost 30 years. Is this fact playing on the minds of the Lautoka players and officials?
That's right, Jamie. They have not won the BOG since 1985, which actually was the one and only time that they won the title. And if anything, this is actually pushing them. They want to rewrite history this weekend, and judging from what I saw last night, this side has what it takes.
Well, with a champion side like Mba and the hunger that you describe in the Blues, Akusita, I'm sure this game will be a thriller.
I'm hoping for that, Jamie, but only time will tell.
Thank you for that update, Akusita. Meanwhile, host Suva also held its last training session this morning. The Whites last won the BOG crown in 1995 at the National Stadium and hope history can repeat itself. And for one veteran Suva rep, it's all about playing a leading role and guiding his team to victory.
Well, you know, like playing with Rio tomorrow at the semi-final, I think is no other different from the other team that we played this whole season. And I think every game for us this whole season, it's not only the tournament, but I think the whole game for us is very important. So I think for us to be there in the semi-final tomorrow against Rio, I think it's something that, you know, the team is looking forward for. So it's going to be a great game tomorrow.
Suva will meet Rewa at 3 p.m. while Mba takes on Lautoka at 5 p.m. Defending the HFC Fair Brother Trophy is much harder than a challenge for it. No one knows this better than Nandronga Rugby Union President Tiko Matoalu. The former Stallion skipper says they expect a different Naita Siri pack than the one they demolished in the Skipper Cup final last weekend. Tsale Ndadakadaka reports.
The HFC Fair Brother Trophy challenge is such that any team has the potential to win on game day. Lautoka's historic upset win over holders Nandronga in 1979 is a clear example. Similar results have been recorded in the trophy's 73-year history, something the Stallions will keep in mind heading into the opening challenge against Naitasiri tomorrow.
That is where we are, the pressure that is on us to be able to defend this trophy. We are not relying on last week's results, and the pressure is still there for us to defend this trophy and to defend it successfully.
Stallions coach Esala Naunga has named a strong side, which includes National 7 squad members Savenada Rawada, Eremasi Randronro, and Apesalome Wangatambu. Naitasiri has made 8 changes to the side that was thumped by Nandronga last weekend, which could signal their intentions to claim the trophy.
The reason why we have put them to be our first challenger, and you know, with those reasons, it doesn't take away the fact that Naitasiri is a strong team, and Naitasiri will always be Naitasiri. Coming into this game, you know, is something that we feel we need to really prepare for.
1 week later, and the stakes have changed between these two sides. The Stallions have more to lose than their challenges, which should make for an entertaining game of rugby. Chalendo the Kavak, FBC Sports.
It will only be a short turnaround for the Vodafone Fiji 7 squad to the first leg of the IRB series at the Gold Coast. However, national coach Ben Ryan was impressed by the fitness test results earlier this week and considers the players to be in good shape heading into a 2-week camp from Monday.
If I can be as bold as getting 20% fitter in the next 5 weeks, I think that's possible, and I think that's what we'll aim for. So yeah, all in all, I thought the fitness tests were good, and it gave me a good understanding of some strengths that we have. You know, I look at their scores they make in the squat, for example, and we're well ahead of the sort of scores that we would have had over in England, and that's pretty good. And their speed tests were also excellent. You know, to have some times that I know would be as good or as good, and maybe quicker than Dan Norton as well, one or two of the boys. So I guess I'm lucky I can compare those statistics, certainly in those areas. So no, that's good.
The 30-man squad will participate in a tournament in Levuka next month, from which Ryan will select his 12-member squad to the Gold Coast Sevens in Australia in October. Basketball Fiji is looking into engaging more schools for the Tuckers Championships next year. This was after the successful turnout at this year's tournament that ended yesterday. Josephine Navula has more.
With an increase in the number of schools in this year's secondary school championships, organizers are keen on providing assistance for schools interested in participating next year.
We would like to encourage more schools to participate in our secondary schools championships. Our development, we have our resources available to assist the schools in regards to providing development officers to come and visit the schools.
Cuomo says every school will have the equal opportunity to qualify for the tournament through playoffs, which will be held before the main event.
It's open for everyone. We usually organize prior to this championship, we organized a weekly league games that was held in here in Suva and also in Lotok.
Meanwhile, John Wesley College and Yetsen Secondary School have been crowned the new under-19 champions. John Wesley defeated Natambot 21 points to 18 to win the boys' title, while Yetsen defeated the girls from St. Joseph's 31 points to 28 in the final. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
That was your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Vodafone Fiji today signed a partnership agreement with Tonga Communications Corporation, which will see both companies leverage services off each other. Cheaper handsets for people in Tonga, better network service and access to services offered by Vodafone are just a few of the perks that come with the package. Vodafone Fiji CEO Pradeep Lal called the partnership a win-win extension of a long-standing relationship between TCC and Vodafone Fiji.
Products like M-Pesa is also very popular, depending on, and also a lot of other products like 2G products, 3G products, and 4G products, which would make sense. We will be able to leverage on each other's strength and be able to offer to TTC.
It is about connectivity, but not just connectivity. It is the quality of the service at an affordable price for the people. And I think TCC has managed to do that. With, of course, coming on board with Vodafone, Vodafone can strengthen that aspiration of ours that we want to achieve.
Vodafone Fiji also plans to offer its expertise and knowledge in mobile telecommunication to other networks in the region to create a vibrant, competitive and robust mobile communications network. It was cool with scattered cloudiness and no rain around the country today. The west stayed dry. Savusavu and Suva had sunny skies, scattered clouds and cool winds. Nandi Lautoka, Bai and Lambasa had the same conditions all throughout the day. On the temperature chart, Bai and Lambasa recorded a high of 30, Nandi recorded 29 and Suva and Savusavu hit 28 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, Savusavu and Suva with a chance of scattered showers in the morning and fair conditions in the afternoon. Nandi Lautoka, Bai and Lambasa will have fine weather all throughout the day. Further outlook, fine apart from brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands, cool at night. And just recapping our top stories tonight, 44 Fijian troops held by Syrian rebels as government and the United Nations negotiate for their safe release. Prolonged dry spell drying up water sources in Western Division, a National Federation party looking to make changes to taxation system if it gets into Parliament. Now time for the Fijian Speak segment.
Education is more important, and like light and now soon we had in the news that they're going to cut off the powers and the water. This is the more important thing. They should talk about that thing.
Actually, youth development. The development of youth in all areas, sporting, their career choices, and just simply guiding them into what they want to be when they grow up.
You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. And to receive the latest headlines on your mobile phone, take subspace FBC to 777. That's all from us for the week. Be sure to join Amrita Priyadarshini from tomorrow with the weekend news. I'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Bye for now.
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर आपका स्वागत है बच्चों की दुनिया में। हमेशा की तरह आज भी हम आपके लिए कहानियाँ और कविताएं लेकर आए हैं और बच्चों आप हमें कॉल भी कर सकते हैं। नमस्कार, मैं हूँ पल्लवी। रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर मंडे टू फ्राइडे 3 से लेकर 4 बजे तक बच्चों की दुनिया में और 4 से लेकर 7 बजे तक मस्तानी शाम के सफर में शामिल रहिए मेरे साथ।